Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another segment of Asaph Cafe. I am your host, Asaph Adonai, and once again we're on our Lawrence Welk set, which I think is going to be kind of a permanent set here for this show for a while. Mm-hmm. And then when we do that real updated Lawrence Welk show, we'll have the ballroom and all that.
And but bubbles out of his ears and bubbles out of his mouth.
Yeah, you can see the bubbles on the set and the chandeliers. But for now, we're using this Lawrence Welk set for Asaph Cafe. Mm-hmm. And on my left, we have our hostess, our veteran guest, Patti Reed. She's been on this show more times than anyone since Asaph Cafe's history, so she wanted to become our hostess. And then we have our mascot, Pee Wee, in between. And then we have Linda Brooks Curtis, one of our regulars. And we have a new guest. Well, he's been on the show before, but I'm going to use him. We're going to call him the aging rocker.
Yeah.
Emmett.
Yeah.
Emmett.
Yeah.
We'll affectionately call him the aging rocker. And I want to use him on
our own rebel.
Yeah, our own comical rebel, our friendly rebel, you know?
Yeah.
He has a cause.
Like, on the Wiggles, it was called Captain Feathersword, the friendly pirate.
Yeah, you're gonna be our friendly rocker.
Yeah, wonderful.
He has heard of Billy Idol. He knows
aging
all
rocker.
about Billy Idol.
So the weather's a little under the weather today.
Yeah, at least it rained and cleared out some of the smoke. But if I cough, you pardon me. I'm still kind of coughing from the smoke. It was so bad.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. Here's our
I had to bring my cough drops.
It's all coughed up.
No, thanks.
Mahogany.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, and I'm glad. I can wait for that smoke to leave.
Yep.
Now you can shampoo your hair outside.
And that's going to be our opening song, B.J. Thomas Raindrops, because it is kind of raining out today.
Yeah, perfect.
Everybody bring your shampoo.
And
We got our umbrellas.
Yeah, I'm glad the rain came because it was smoky last weekend.
Yes.
And
Missoula is smoking. Oh my goodness.
I was
We had a
supposed to
smoke
play.
whiteout.
I was supposed to play last Saturday, and I canceled it. I wasn't going to go out in those elements with that smoke in the sky like that playing.
Yeah.
I said, forget it. I stayed home last Saturday.
Yeah, same here. It was hazardous. I heard.
Well, there was some comedy I found on the news because there was a report yesterday that a number of people that went to the Grassroots Festival down at Caras Park now have respiratory problems, possibly with their children.
Oh.
Another medical bill to go.
Well, I think we should pray first, like I always do, and pray over the food that we're eating too at the cafe.
Will you do that?
Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, thank you for this fascinating time with Asaph again and his fascinating show. He's a fascinating host. He's very fascinating. Bless our food and deliver us always from all evil. Bless our food and our time together, oh God, in Jesus' name. Yes.
Yeah, cute to have a prayer with a children's song.
Yes. And thanks to the Senior Citizen Center, I'm sure it was...
I'm going to mention in a moment, yeah, they provided.
Mm-hmm.
Love them bakers.
Yeah, the Missoula Senior Center, they provide the food for this show every week. So I want to thank Michelle once again and the Missoula Senior Center and the whole gang.
This proves that elderly people can still get cooking.
Okay.
Well, this is excellent because we have wonderful green beans and onions and pasta sauce covered with thinly sliced chicken and mushroom parmesan sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Chicken cacciatore.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very good.
That's delicious.
Yeah, they have some excellent cooks there.
Yeah.
And they have lots of variety going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm really humbled that the Missoula Senior Center would allow me to have these goodies here for this show. So that's why I want to acknowledge them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's one of those tips you just can't put in your pocket.
Yeah.
Let me readjust this here.
I'm sure they enjoy you playing there.
Yeah, it's fun playing there. I enjoy playing.
So
for
how
the
many people
seniors.
get up and dance around the floor for you?
I don't know about dance, but I don't play there very long because they have their bingo and stuff, and so you know.
Uh-huh.
I bet you they dance and they hear you and then they get a bingo. Bingo!
Yeah.
Woo!
I used to live in the area, so that's where I voted. It was at the senior center because I used to live in the area.
because they do a dance with or without you when they get a bingo. Sometimes it's a silent hurrah. Other times it's out of the seat and rock and roll.
This is such a beautiful.
Yep. I've heard that song. I like it. Yep.
Santa Lucia.
It's in a lot of music boxes. I've heard it too.
Pretty song.
And what are the words?
And of course, nobody sings that song. Sings
Oh, you
that
got
song like
lucky.
Jim Neighbors,
Darn.
in my opinion. I know that Jim Neighbors is older now, but in his time, in his prime, man, he just really made that song
What's
sound
the
so
lyrics?
beautiful.
What's the lyrics?
Oh, I had to look it up. I'm no
okay.
singer.
I
Stump
can
the
hear
piano
I can
is-
hear him while the music's going, but I didn't feel like singing.
Well, that's okay.
I wanted
I
you
don't
to
know
be
the lyrics.
star.
Oh, star. You guys are the stars, not me.
So you
I'm
stumped
just
me
a
and I
host.
stumped you because you don't know lyrics and neither do I.
No, but no, Jim. Getting back to
Stump the
Jim
band.
Neighbors. He was on the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah,
when
he
they
was
first
Gomer
introduced
Pyle.
him. And you know, it was funny how he talked like Gomer Pyle and then have that rich baritone voice.
Oh yeah,
And he was singing
strong.
Santa Lucia on the Andy Griffith Show. That's how they introduced the character Gomer Pyle. And it was just a great version of that song as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I mean, the Lord really blessed Jim Neighbors with that fantastic voice.
I think the song is largely nostalgic, longing for Santa Lucia.
Well, I know
The
that song
beautiful-
goes before Jim Neighbors'
beautiful
time. I understand
village
that,
in
but his
Italy.
version is just gorgeous, beautiful version of that song.
I'll have to look for it on the internet.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. But the name of the episode is called "The Song Festers."
Oh, okay.
See, Barney Fife was going to sing the solo, and of course,
Oh.
Barney can't really sing.
Okay.
But he's got a good heart. He tries, but he can't really sing.
Barney Five.
And so they were singing. The choir was rehearsing Santa Lucia, and Jim Neighbors was fixing a car outside. He decided to start singing along with the choir because he heard the choir
Yeah,
singing.
Don Knotts is that.
And yeah, they heard him singing, and everybody stopped and peeked out the window, and they saw Gomer Pyle singing Santa Lucia, and he winds up being the tenor. So
Of course, that's what happens to me a lot.
The tenor or the baritone?
You sing something just
Well, I
right,
should say
everybody
baritone
stops shopping
in
and
this
they go,
case.
"Where is that? That's live. That's
they
not
use
just
the word
recording."
tenor, but I think he's got more of a baritone voice. But he has a beautiful voice.
Wide range,
Yeah,
but he has a baritone quality.
yeah. Jim Neighbors is one of the best singers I've ever heard, and it seems so unlikely when you hear him with his character Gomer Pyle. Oh, he's a beautiful voice, beautiful voice. And you know, the Marines made him an honorary Marine in real life for the character of Gomer Pyle.
Well, you know, Gomer Pyle's favorite word was golly.
Well, yeah, but he always stood for right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the Marines might have made him an honorary Marine in real life. Plus, hit the concerts he's done over the years with the Marine Corps band with that voice. You know, singing like "It's Impossible." What's that? The
He's
Impossible
got a good
Dream.
vibrato too.
Oh, he's got a beautiful voice.
You know, I hate to say
For
it,
a
but
man, he's got some pipes.
Oh yeah, he really does have some
He
pipes.
gives some pipes for
I
piping.
forgot. What show was Gomer Pyle on? I forgot.
Well, no, first
Andy Griffith.
He had his
first he was
own
on the
Jim
Andy
Neighbors.
Griffith show.
Oh.
Didn't he have the
And
Jim
then
Neighbors
he got
show?
a spin-off, and it became Gomer Pyle.
Oh, the
then
show
when
was
it-
called Gomer Pyle.
Then a couple
Yeah.
of times he was like Mac Davis and had his own little
Yeah,
musical
he had
show,
his variety
Jim
show called the
Neighbors show.
Jim Neighbors.
Yeah, I remember
show.
that one because at the same time Mac Davis had one too.
Yeah, I remember Mac.
And Mac Davis was funny because towards either like the middle of the show, the beginning, or the end, he'd go, "Okay, well, everybody, audience, I know you have music talent because I'm gonna let you guys create me a song. I just need a title," and he'd start playing with his
Yeah.
guitar. He was very good spontaneously.
And I have a picture of me with Mac Davis, and it looks like there is something going on that isn't.
It's that curly hair.
That
He has curly
that's the
hair,
way
and
he
so do
wanted
you.
to pose with me, but that was all right with me.
You're both smiling, I see.
You know this song?
Yeah, there can be
know.
miracles with Whitney and Mariah Carey.
Yeah, when you believe.
because you believe. Why don't you? We'll find a way if you believe.
Sounds a lot like Cherish.
Yep.
Do you know the song Cherish?
No.
Or Charity. Charity. If I have not charity, I am nothing.
No, don't know the song. Yeah.
This is an imitation of it. The melody is plagiarism. Too bad.
It's a pretty song.
Came from the animated movie Moses.
The conclusion. Yeah, that's called When You Believe. That's from the cartoon, The Prince of Egypt. It tells the story of Moses.
Never saw it. Yeah, never saw the
Beautiful cartoon.
Oh, lots of color, lots of color.
It took
They
4
did.
years in real life to make that cartoon, to make
Huh.
that film.
Interesting.
And it was shot in Israel, certain scenes. And they had like Hebrew Bible scholars
See,
that were
most of
behind the scenes when they
Yeah.
were putting that together. And they
Yeah.
did take artistic license because of the movie, but it still told the story of Moses and the Exodus and, you know, the people being delivered.
a lot of
children
times
being
when they do
delivered.
an animated movie for Disney, there was actual real footage, and then they just overlap it.
Yeah,
with the
but they had the
animation.
scholars there. They had the Hebrew Bible scholars there for real in the background, and it turned out to be a beautiful film. And it had some beautiful music, like this song "When You Believe." That was one of them.
Or
That was
When
a
I
song
Become a
that
Man, I think it was.
Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston were singing in the film when they were being set free.
They did a video of themselves too.
Yeah, and then there was another song on there.
Isn't it When You Become a Man?
Look at yourself through heaven's eyes. That's a beautiful song too, because it talks about Moses didn't think he was anything when he met Zipporah's family, and the high priest, Jethro, the high priest, says, "Hey, don't look at yourself that way. Look at yourself through heaven's eyes." And then they sing this song, and you know, when you're going through a circumstance in life, you can't see the whole picture.
Yeah.
God sees the whole picture,
Yeah.
and that's what that song was portraying. And that's what he was explaining to Moses.
Wonderful.
I know your heart and mother.
Beautiful song, beautiful storyline.
There was one religious film that I was very disappointed in that came out recently. It was called Noah. It was live action.
Yeah, I heard about that film. I've not seen it, so I can't really comment. But I heard I heard they kind of got some history off.
They did. They really did. It just, I mean, I was so disappointed with it, and I reread the whole thing. But no, it just they tried to do a few things, but it's just they really did, you know, took a lot of liberties with the biblical story. I would have just shot it right. Here's what the Bible says about it, and made a movie about it based on the Bible, not all this other stuff, and that didn't happen. I was very disappointed in it.
Well, you know, I understand taking artistic license. That's because it's a movie, but
yeah.
if they can get it as accurate, the story
Yes, the
as
story.
accurate, even though they have the artistic license.
Yeah, and their goal is to please the children first.
Well, I know.
And then the
It
parents.
wasn't really for kids. The movie Noah wasn't for kids, you know.
No, but
No,
the Prince of Egypt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I hope you'll get to see that. I think you will like it. It has some
Fascinating.
beautiful music. Very
Yeah,
beautiful
I've never
music.
heard of the movie before now. I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about probably 10
I've
years old,
watched
I think.
a lot of animated
Fascinating.
movies at Disney, and
But,
that
you know,
song,
they
the
usually have
melody is
very
a
good-
takeoff
very
on
good
a
people
song
writing
that I
those
knew
that
back in the
music.
70s.
But speaking of the Exodus, I'll start this conversation with the Exodus because, you know, the viewers know I have my autobiography that's out, and I have my first book signing this Saturday.
Yes, writers' crabs. Woohoo!
Emmett has
And,
some
What?
have some-
All right.
And there's a section in the book called the Exodus in my book,
Mm-hmm.
and it talks about how I feel I got delivered from all the dysfunction that was going on in my life when I was growing up in
Well,
California
we could say
and stuff.
you revelated.
So Anyway, that is how I can start this conversation because I wanted to talk about some of the context of my book.
Is this a song from the movie Exodus?
Well, I could play that song, but it's not in the book, you know.
It's when he was on the streets and he felt kind of blue, and there was hills by, so they called up with Hill Street Blues.
Okay, I got trivia for you, Emmett.
Mhm.
Do you know who wrote that song, the theme to Exodus?
Don't know,
Patti,
no.
do you know who wrote it?
Leon
It was a man.
Uris. Leon Uris.
No.
It was a man.
No, Pat Boone wrote that song.
Well, I said he was a man. He
Well,
is
yeah.
still a
He sang
man.
it, but Leon
No, he
Uris.
wrote
Okay,
that.
Patrick
That's my
Boone.
understanding. I mean, that's what history says, too.
We'll just go with Patrick Boone.
Well, you could be right, too, but they say that...
He probably wrote the lyrics.
I don't know.
Leon,
And since he was
oh,
such
I'm
a...
sorry, my mistake. Leon
It almost
Uris wrote
almost
the
sounds
novel.
like the lyrics to
Okay.
A Time
No, I'm
for
talking
a
about the actual
Change.
song. Pat
A
Boone
time
is
for
credited with
some-
writing that song.
Do, 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 da, 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 da.
Percy Faith, the easy listening artist, did a cover of this on one of his albums. Yeah.
I'm sure he did. A lot of people
Yeah,
did.
yeah, they did, yeah.
There's so many notes that you hit in there that go to some of the songs.
I'm doing it right now, see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, I do have a chapter in there called The Exodus in my book. And, you know, the dysfunction was so bad in my life when I was in California. And of course, this was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point I felt like I was going to have to get myself committed to a hospital for real because of the fighting, the rejection, all the bad stuff that was going on
Well, in
between the
Montana, we call
relationship with me
California land
and
of
my
fruits and
family at
nuts.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we
And
call it.
how I got away from it, I had put in 6 years with the Salvation Army playing for them. And so the envoy at that time gave me a one-way bus ticket out of California. I told him I just needed to get away. And I called my aunt in New York, my Aunt Doris, and I stayed with her for 2 months while I prepared to move to Montana to start my life over at that time. So I thought that was worth writing about in the book. So
See,
I
in
wrote about
Montana,
that.
when you mention California, the first thing comes to our mind is land of fruits and nuts. So we're not surprised when people go kind of crazy staying in California. It's just one of those things.
Well, you know, you'd be surprised how much unhealthy dysfunction goes on in families.
Oh,
And
yes.
so, and you know, I'm not the only one, but
No.
I just decided to write about that.
Well, I sympathize with
you
you
know.
because my mother was mentally ill and my father
So
was an
my
alcoholic
mom
and
too, and so was
abusive.
my dad, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a connection there.
So
that's
I'm saying that in
understanding.
love. You know, my father, he had a great career with the military, but he couldn't overcome his alcoholism, and it affected the way he treated the family and himself.
It's better when they're great when they're sober, but when they're sober, they're angry. 'cause
Yeah, I
they
know, that's
have
how my father was. He was
such
more
a
scary when he
chasing.
was sober.
They're always
Yeah.
chasing for that breakfast.
Yeah, my father was very frightening when he was not drinking because he would be very mean, like he was having a withdrawal or something like that. And I thought it was worth telling the story.
I
see, in my case-
came up with my own jokes for alcoholics. Like in the morning, their mouthwash is peppermint schnapps, you know. So that way, if they're in a hurry and they don't catch themselves drunk driving and they get pulled over the officer smells that minty fresh breath. So they're going, "Oh, you just need a cup of coffee." And when they really do need a cup of coffee, they're still going to go to work and hope that the boss bought the coffee so they can get
Yeah.
it right there,
Uh-huh.
with or without the donuts.
Well, let me tell you the history of my upbringing. And I thought this is really worth telling, and I hope this will help people. I'm not out to convert anybody. I'm not out to save anybody. I just wanted to tell the story. That's all. And when I decided to tell this story, I wasn't sure I wanted to tell it at first because I didn't know if I wanted to relive terrible things that happened to me growing up.
Right.
But the other side is how therapeutic it was.
Your subconscious is calling out.
So anyway, what I did when I was telling the story, I'll start with the history. See, my mom got pregnant with me before she married my father.
Okay.
And in those years, when a woman got pregnant outside of marriage, they were forced to marry in those days. And it didn't make any difference how unhealthy the relationship was.
The child was going to get called
They
a
were
name.
forced to marry.
Yeah.
And so my father was abusing my mother then. before marriage.
Right.
So she was forced to marry this man, and she felt trapped. And by the time I came along, it made her feel more trapped. And I thought that was worth telling the story.
I went through that in my first and only marriage.
Yeah, I thought that's worth telling the story. And so, you know, I never had this mother and son relationship with my birth mother. It was like two magnets that get together and repel.
Right.
Because she was forced to
like
raise me.
there's a wall there.
Yeah. And so when I say I love my mom, it's not in a relational sense. It's out of a respectful sense because she
A biological
gave birth
sense.
to me. Yeah, biological. That's all she is to me, as a biological person. Now my other mom, her name is Lois Stevens, and she's just a real sweetie. She to me is my mother. She to me is the mom I've never had. And I'm not,
she's your best friend as a mother.
I'm
that you
not
don't
dogging on my birth mom.
Right.
I'm just telling the story and telling the way it was.
Well, here's another parallel to that. When I had my family visiting me this week, and my son and I were busy
PB gives you the head.
putting things in my apartment, and so Megan took the two children out into the garden park area of the manor. And they were standing talking to some people, and when we finished what we were doing, we came out to get them. And they were very intrigued by my granddaughter and grandson, and said to me later, "Do you know what your granddaughter said?" She said, "That's my Grandma Linda. She's my nice grandma."
Wow.
And she said, "What does that mean about her other grandma?"
You're the yin and the
Well,
other's
see, you
the
know,
yang.
when I
And
share
I
these
just
stories,
said, well, her other grandma is younger and prettier and more of a perfectionist. And, you know, you don't dare have anything out of place or anything that isn't absolutely perfect. And that's probably it,
yeah.
you know.
Well, you know, when I tell these stories, I say it in a loving way, you know.
Well, nobody is perfect, and there is a lot to it when you're a single mother. Since I've been there too, after my divorce, it's a lot of work because you've got to always
I
make sure.
understand that, so I'm not making
about
light of that,
everything.
but I mean, from my experience,
It does make it easier
Well, your
if you
mother
can keep a
wasn't a
sane
single
head.
mother, and that's part of the problem.
yeah, she was trapped in that unhealthy relationship, and
It tested her last nerve quite often.
yeah, not me personally. I
Yeah.
was targeted.
Well, see, she's
But-
not just taking care of the children that she gave birth to. When you have an alcoholic or even
I know, those are
junkie
factors, yeah.
husband, you are babysitting their situations they create when they can't mentally
and
keep
I
it
don't want to
together.
pick on my father because see, and I wrote
Joe
about
Jackson did the same thing to Michael. That's why Michael had so many problems. He wanted to be a normal teenager, and the oldest son even got scrutinized because he would pick up Joe's guitar, and Joe used that guitar to make extra money to pay the rent and stuff for their place. And so Joe was very offensive and protective of his guitar instead of just saying, "Oh, you guys really have been paying attention. You want to learn how to play? Okay, let's try this." You know. And
yeah, but you know, and getting back to my experience, it was more harder for me having a relationship with my birth mother than it ever was with my father.
you felt alone a lot.
Oh yeah, and I know what it's like to have rejection. I know what it's like to be almost killed at the hands of my parents. I wrote about all of that. I know what it's like to be abused emotionally, verbally, physically.
The scrutiny.
I wrote about all of that stuff in graphic detail in this book. But it reached a point where it was affecting me so bad I had to just completely separate myself from all that forever.
You had to get off
And
the
that was why
ton
I
of
moved
bricks.
to Montana. That was one of the biggest reasons I moved here. And the funny thing about it is when I finally moved here, all that unhealthy stuff that I was going through did not follow me.
So the
It
ton of
stayed
bricks
behind.
came off your shoulders.
Yes. And like another story I wanted to tell about my birth mom, with the abuse that she was going through and the mental health issues that she had when I was growing up. When I was in the 6th grade, she used to turn the gas stove and try to kill everybody in the house. That's what
her
it was like
solution.
growing up. And there were no mental health issues then. And then my father would get up and open the windows and beat her up
And
even
the-
more. And that would add more
And the
to-
neighbors acted like nothing was going on.
Yeah, the neighbors would be like
Yeah.
looking and gossiping and talking and
Instead of
you know.
being activists and doing something to make it better.
So that gives you an idea of what it was like growing up, and I'm lucky that I'm able to play the piano considering
So did
growing
you
up
grow up in a lower middle class?
No, we grew up in a nice neighborhood, and that's what made it even more hard to decipher because, you know,
Like in the
My
state of
father-
the neighborhood?
yeah, he would drive like Cadillacs and stuff. We lived in a pretty good neighborhood. So people would look at our house on the surface, and like I went to that phase where nobody would believe me when I was telling them how unhealthy it was.
Right.
In that, you know, they would just
The
look at me
schools
like
were
I was a
different
kid
back
making
then,
it
too.
up. Yeah. You know, like I'd reach out to people in church or neighbors or something, and nobody would believe me. And then like even my relatives, nobody would believe me.
They
when I would
just,
tell
did they
them.
pray for you at least, or?
What they did, they probably did it privately.
Oh,
you know,
yes, okay, yeah.
and stuff like that. And so there's some delightful things in this book too, but I wanted to tell the story. And I'm just skimming on the surface on this show today for time's sake, but when
Yeah.
you really read the book,
So you were around the 60s and 70s era of growing up.
yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are of the same age range that probably went through a lot of the same thing. Because, you know, a lot of people have to remember, just because you're going through something in one location of that town and state, there's probably at least 50 people at the same time unhappily going through the same similar thing. And it is good to unite, and it is good to pass them stories back and forth, because it can cause such a knot if you keep things tied up too long.
Well,
Cause ulcers,
Well, I
headaches.
had my second mom too, and I cried on her shoulder growing up. And see, she lived near my parents anyway.
Right.
And I must have cried on her shoulder 1,000 times growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
how
were shaping her into getting ready.
Well, I think that's funny you mention that, because I put that in the book. I think the good Lord may have had a plan, because see how she became my mom. Her son and I were born on the same date, October 26th.
Oh, that's cool.
And when he died, that sealed
You
that
were the
relationship.
replacement. Yeah.
That's
Keep
the way
her
to
love going
describe
for
it.
a
I wanted
child.
I wanted to ease her pain, and the way to ease her pain was to become her son.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
And I thought that was a beautiful story worth telling. Now this was years ago, obviously.
A lot of
So,
children,
yeah.
you know, it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy, they need a mentor. They need someone who can be the physical diary that they can pass over the deepest secrets that are harming them or making them happy, and their inspirations. That's what turns them into beautiful pianists and musicians and singers and writers, everything in the arts, you know. So if you guys out there are really having a tough time with this area, it's okay. You know, that makes you part of America and Americans, and you want to sit down and write it out. If you have a best friend that you can trust that will confide in no one but you, that's what you do. You don't keep it up and be a ticking time bomb saying, okay, this is the moment, I'm in the post office, I'm going to go postal because then I can look like the workers. You can't do that. You gotta find a new measure. But that doesn't mean you have to be silenced either. When they tell you to be quiet, obey the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Speak up, be a part of, and be an activist. And it does make a difference. Even if you tie a child's shoe, you're helping that child not trip and get hurt. So keep it up. That's what you do.
Cody Woodpecker.
And I
all the
don't-
time.
I can't tell you how many times it kept me going.
You were a teacher.
To have, when I was a child, to have people I didn't even know
Yeah, I
coming
went
up
through
to
that
me
too.
and saying, oh, I wish I had hair like that, or I wish I looked
I
like
get that
you,
all the time.
or things like that. And it was so nice, especially when I was with children my own age who were being mean to me.
Did you get called Orphan Annie or anything like that? I did. I got called Orphan Annie and Pippi Longstocking and Peppermint Patty. Because of my hair, it was really curly like hers, and it was bright reddish orange. I had the freckles and the green eyes, and they were looking for my dog named Sandy. So now we have Pee Wee.
Tomorrow.
That's as close as we're
And
getting
then
right
it keeps you
now.
holding on until the tomorrow when you can break free. As Asaph did.
When I think of my day tomorrow,
Yeah.
I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. Tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. You're always a day.
Wasn't that a Shirley Temple movie, Annie? Or something
Well,
like-
actually, it was
That's a
close.
musical.
It was a musical.
Oh, I'm.
And Carol
Oh, your
Burnett
heart bothers
was one
from
of
the lights,
the
Pee-wee.
principal
Oh,
characters
good
in the
Lord,
original
honey.
Annie film.
Need some water?
Just a beautiful film about this orphan girl that gets taken in by the rich man and learns to have a family. And she
Daddy
had some.
Warbucks.
She had
Daddy
some
Warbucks.
dysfunction too.
don't know. Don't
Yeah,
know.
she had Carol Burnett.
Carol Burnett and her family, they were trying to exploit this child and use this
Money.
child
Well,
They're
instead
out
of-
for the money.
It wasn't
It's,
necessarily her family. it was the group called the Orphanage.
Yes, the facilitators wanted her money. They wanted that money for finding a child that was connected to a rich daddy Woolbox.
You remember the song?
Yes. The
Those
summer
beautiful
knows.
easy listening songs heard on easy listening stations. Yes, I don't remember the name of it, but it's
The
beautiful.
summer knows. It's from summer of
Summer 42.
42. One of my
heard of this song.
favorite films. The summer of 42.
I've heard of it. One of my favorite easy listening songs is from that movie, A Summer Place, or is that a different movie?
Well, there was a
That's
movie with
different-
Robert
that's a
Redford
different
in it, and I
song.
think they
Yeah,
used
okay,
this
yeah.
as a theme.
There's a summer place.
I love that. That's my favorite easy listening song.
Well, it was quite evocative. Do you want some water, baby? She's going to water.
She had her drink, so she's like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's the Summer 42. Beautiful
Summer
song.
of 42.
Yeah.
I have the music for that.
I've never heard words to it, I've just always heard the melody, never the words.
Oh, I have.
I've seen a movie, I think Robert Redford was in this movie.
No, he was not in that. This is a film about a young boy and a woman who's about 30.
I know that.
In the summer of 42, her husband has just been deployed to the South Pacific, and she's terribly, terribly lonely, and she has what turns out to be this young boy's first experience.
What year did that movie come out?
I think it came out, what, late 60s?
Jennifer
something like?
O'Neill.
Yeah, Jennifer O'Neill, the actress.
1968, 78.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
okay.
it- that's
I've
a
seen
beautiful
it, but
theme
it was a
song.
long time ago. It's been a
Well,
long
these
time.
keys are kind of sticking and they're causing me to make a little mistakes.
It's been a
but
while since
Well, like I said, I hope I didn't bang on them when I was doing my
no,
show.
it had nothing to do with you.
Oh,
it
good,
was,
good,
it
good.
was,
it was sticky fingers.
It was doing that
Passing
quite
through.
some time, you know. It was
Okay.
showing
One of
signs.
Dick Tracy's
it just
gang
needs to be
members.
repaired, you know, and that sort of thing. And while time is flying, it's been 30 minutes already. We've
Yeah.
been doing this show.
Damn,
Time is
sticky
flying.
fingers.
But anyway, you know, to conclude this
Who'da
thing
thunk
about my book, I just wanted to tell the story, and if somebody can get a little comfort out of the book, that's fine. Because there's some delightful things in the
Yes,
book.
And email
yes.
him and tell him he wants to hear. He's an
Oh,
inquiring
no,
mind.
no,
He needs
no,
to hear.
no, no.
The
Anyway.
other main theme is having faith in yourself no matter what other people's opinions are.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Just remember, when you go through a lot, there's a lot of inner strength you get out of it. And it is educational. It will teach you the rights and wrongs. And it teaches you how to do emotional self-defense, because sometimes you have to.
Oh yeah.
And then learning you how to run to the right people. You got to just keep looking, you got to keep talking, because not everybody's deaf. Some people do listen.
Yeah.
And luckily, in America, there's a variety of personalities, so we can't say all women are the same and all men. So that's like
No,
the most
yeah, yeah.
ridiculous. Like when they say this is your funny bone. It's not funny when you bump your elbow.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, so it's up to us, the adults, to listen to children, and it's on the children to keep talking to people until you find someone who's
Yes.
a good listener. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't hide. Don't do some of the things that, like Robin Williams, would happen to him, and Heath Ledger, some others. We really miss them actors, you know.
Yeah.
We
Well,
miss Michael and that.
Let me tell you a delightful thing that happened as a child. There was one delightful memory. The first time Santa Claus came to our home.
Did he bake a pie?
Well, no, but I'll tell you what happened. My father was stationed in Taiwan at that time, and one of the rare happy moments, my mom said, Asaph, and my brother's name is Ted. She said, you boys have to go to bed early tonight because Santa Claus is going to come over. And if you're not asleep, you won't get any toys.
Of course.
And so my brother and I said, oh, okay, we're going to stay up and see Santa
We're gonna
Claus.
pretend we're asleep.
And when midnight actually came, because the lights were out in our room, and you can see down the hall where our Christmas tree was.
Shadows.
So when the lights, when midnight actually came, there was a knock on our door. Literally, at midnight. And Santa Claus actually came to our home. And we could see Santa Claus down the hall. He was talking to our parents.
Whoa.
And then he walked down the hallway to my room, mine and my brother's room, and he actually turned the light on and goes, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, are you children asleep?
amazing.
And my brother and I were like, pretending we were asleep. You know, get this Academy Award.
One curtain on.
And then a moment later, he left the room.
That is wonderful.
That's kind of a
That actually-
fun childhood memory. That actually happened. Santa came down the hall of our house and actually turned our bedroom light on our room.
Cool.
I had that
And,
happen at my trailer in Missoula here when I had my 3 children. I didn't have my fourth one yet, and it was about 11:30 at night, and I just barely gotten the kids halfway asleep when they heard a knock on the door. So of course they're not going to stay asleep. They want to see what's going on. Well, we opened the door, and here comes all these beautiful women in first with Santa Claus hats on. Those were his helpers. I'm like, those are interesting elves. And then we seen Santa, and his tummy was sliding out like a pillow. And they brought in 2 great big long boxes full of presents, and it was just delightful. And then my oldest son went up and said, Santa, how can you be losing weight if you don't keep your pillows underneath your coat? And I'm going, oh no, Brian to the rescue. So we finally got the children back to sleep, and Santa hung out for a little bit. And I said, Santa, you're not going to be lonely, but is Mrs. Claus going to be upset with all these beautiful women? And he goes, ho, 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 don't you know, I'll have a full gear to go. And then he left, and then ironically, up in the air, there was a helicopter flying around, and someone had took a digital light message, and it was Santa Claus flying through the air at the same time. So it was really fulfilling. It was awesome. That was back in around 1991. So,
Emmett, do you know this song?
on the nurse side.
No, I don't. Afraid I don't.
Do you know it, Linda?
Sounds Russian.
I'll give you a hint. Ron Ely.
Is it a Broadway show?
That's the thing, the Tarzan, the television show with the actor Ron Ely.
Oh, I never saw that show.
Well, I knew it had to do with something because I kept hearing, okay, there's has to do with TV shows.
Well, let me do the melody once again. You'll probably recognize it now. That's the theme of Tarzan.
Was that with or without color? Was it black and white TV?
It was color.
One of the first ones then. And he had Cheetah? Okay, yeah, I've seen it. He's got a good
Yeah, the actor Ron Ely probably plays the best looking chiseled Tarzan. He's not the first. It was Johnny Weissmuller that was the original Tarzan.
I remember Cheetah.
Ron Ely did the series, the Tarzan the series, and they had Cheetah on there.
Cheetah the chimp.
My last memory with Tarzan was the movie that was made in 1984, I believe.
Graystroke?
I think so. We went
That was a good
to the theater to see it live, and my son was like 16 months old. He saw the first 5 minutes, and he ran around the theater going, chimpanzee sounds. And I missed a great deal of the movie because I had to take him out in the lobby because he wouldn't stop doing it.
He's monkeying around, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, that Tarzan yell you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Well, probably the most memorable Tarzan yell will be Carol Burnett's Tarzan yell.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Oh.
On the Carol Burnett show?
Oh, they have a great advertisement.
She did the Tarzan yell.
Tim Conway and the other lady.
I saw that one. Is that the Me TV one?
Yeah. Well, she goes,
And he
okay,
says-
do the call. He goes,
Yeah, that's
oh.
Vicki Lawrence, yeah. Tim Conway says, hey, I'm Carol Burnett. And Vicki Lawrence says, really? Do the Tarzan yell. He's like,
Oh.
he couldn't do it.
He kills it
Yeah.
within seconds.
Well,
The
Carol
boy-
Burnett's,
He looks like Elmer Fudd now.
I think that's the most, that will probably go down in history as the most memorable Tarzan yell, Carol Burnett's Tarzan yell. Because when she used to do it on the show, it was so funny.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever see her do that Tarzan
When she
yell?
was
her
on
show?
the, when
Yeah,
she would
never.
talk to the
We'll go look
audience,
it up
they'd
on-
have
we'll look it
her,
up
have
on
her
the
do the
computer.
call.
The Carol
The
Burnett
call.
show.
Yeah.
They'd have her do the audience a lot of times when she'd take a few moments with the audience before the show started.
Uh-huh.
They'd have her still do that call.
And that was fun. Carol Burnett would get on stage and answer questions from the audience at the beginning of the show, and I just thought that was so cool.
Cool.
It was so impersonal.
Yeah, I never got into the concept of Tarzan. I guess I never did. For fantasy like that, have you ever heard of Conan the Barbarian?
Yes,
Yeah.
love, like with Arnold Schwarzenegger's
Yeah.
the bloody R-rated. I have both movies. I got the second movie, Conan the Destroyer, just at the second-hand store over here.
Well,
I
that's
was
where
over
they
there.
came up with the jungle.
I didn't like
Book,
it
too.
as much as the first, but I have the books by Robert E. Howard, and it was wonderful. And I'm surprised he got away with what he wrote in the 1930s and 40s because it was so graphic.
Right.
But Conan was about, this, basically the timeline was just after the fall of Atlantis, and it was basically just after the caveman days and the fall of Atlantis, when we went back to the caveman days, and then steel was just being reinvented, and castles and old sorcery and the Ulster, and that is when Conan came on the scene. And I just love all the heroic fantasy, the sword, you know, the incredible adventures, very gory, very, but the whole barbarian as a good person fighting for truth and justice, it just worked for me. The old one with not Robert E. Hart, but what's that actor in California? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
The old one, the old Conan the Barbarian. The first one made in 1981.
He's pretty good at that.
Fantastic. 1982. It was so good, and the music was so dramatic. It just worked, and I still have the videotape up. Often
See,
watch
when you
it.
have Tarzan, you're talking about a child that was lost in the jungle, raised by an animals, apes. And then you have Mowgli of the Jungle Book that was done as a live movie, but animated too by Disney, where this child's lost in the woods and raised by wolves. And that does happen. Sometimes children get orphaned.
That's the legend of Rome.
And
is
most of
that,
Rome?
that the founders of Rome were twin babies raised by a wolf.
Fascinating.
Orphaned. Yeah.
Orphaned and raised by a wolf.
Which is a possibility. That is a feasible.
I also like, you know, R-rated heroic fantasy movies that they used to have a lot of those in the 80s. Like, I loved like The Beastmaster, The Sword and the Sorcerer. Those are also about barbarians. Talon the Barbarian and Dar the Barbarian.
Yeah, Renaissance.
Fantastic. They were very gory, but they had good themes of good versus evil. I mean, the way they did the sorcerers was just incredible.
And they picked really good actors.
They did. You know, the Christian life is like
Mark
that.
Singer looks
Kind of
really
like
good.
you were describing. Life is like blood, guts, and gore. A lot of that way, but it was just. I just love that type
Well,
of
the
stuff.
sword is like the sword of truth.
It is the sword of truth. The
So
gauntlet
you have
of
to
steel,
pick it up and use it in the right direction to get your conquering going.
Exactly. I even like the cartoon Thundar the Barbarian.
Yeah, I have that one.
Thundar
Yeah.
the Barbarian. I just love that, and I just love Thunder the Barbarian.
It shows inner strength and physical
It
strength.
does. I just love
with
it.
knowledge
The
of what
sun
you're
sword,
doing
yeah, just-
here. For
We'll
self-defense.
call you. We'll call you. That's what he was playing. Call
Well,
me.
yeah, call me. Yeah, that. I'm just playing when you guys are talking about Thor and all the rest of those characters.
You can call me.
Never done it before.
Emma, let me ask you, did you have a
anytime,
favorite?
call me.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite superhero when you were a little boy growing up?
About the only one that I can remember is Superman. I loved Superman, and
Everybody picks Superman.
Yeah,
Mine
it's
was
Superman.
Underdog. That was, there's.
I had too many. I have too
Underdog
many.
is here. That was my favorite.
amazing.
I have too many. I wanted to be Rogue. I wanted to be Storm. I wanted to be Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Supergirl.
I never really.
And then
got much-
you know what it is on a woman? It's just super smarts
Yeah,
and
yeah.
common sense and looking good. So if you have all that in your own strength and you know how to push the bad guy, back him down with common sense first, and no physical fighting, you've done won the day.
Yeah.
You can't be a floor mat. You gotta stand up. You can't let people walk on you. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
no. You know, that's one of the things that irritate me about ISIS and stuff. They want everybody overnight to become Middle Easterner and be ruffians and terrorists and be Muslim. Well, not all of us can be that. So if I wear a
Male
turban, it's
superiority.
actually my wet hair and a towel. That's my turban. I washed my hair, I wrapped up in a towel. That's as far as I'm going. And I'm not
your
good.
song.
Call me.
Even on Sesame Street, they had Super Grover. You know the character Grover. He would fly a Super Grover. And I just love that. That was funny as heck. You know, Super Grover. He would fly around. That was hilarious. It's just incredible.
I am Super Grover. I'm here to protect Sesame Street.
I love that. Hilarious.
And I can't fly with a dam, but I'm still there.
Yeah, it was my mother actually who introduced me to Superman because she took me to see, Superman, and I didn't know what I was watching, and I had to ask her a lot of things, like, why is Clark Kent this way? And she explained the whole story, and I fell in love with it.
Well, once you watch Christopher Reeve on the big screen, it won't work on a TV. You've got to get the screen to watch it, or you just can't. Because it's just like the same lettering that they have in Star Wars. It's hard to watch it on the itty bitty. You got to watch it on a big screen, and you can't get the full effect.
Yeah.
And the surround sound, you gotta have that too, so you know.
Yeah.
That's where you do have to have a bigger screen, bigger TV.
Yeah, Superman 1 was my favorite. Superman 2 was my second favorite. I didn't like Superman 3 as much.
I love the actor Marlon Brando when he played the father. He's a very
Yes,
good
very
father.
good.
Very good. I was
Superman
impressed.
4, did you see Superman 4, The Quest for Peace?
Yeah, when they started changing Superman.
Oh, that was such
because
a
we're used to
movie,
Christopher
yes.
Reeve. He's our Superman. We don't care. He did such a good
Yeah.
job. He's so good looking, beautiful blue eyes.
Well, it was still some, I think it was still
I could go
Christopher
flying
Reeve
with
that
him
did
on a
it,
blue
but
screen.
Yeah.
You know, he even made it look good on the blue
Trying to
screen.
pick that out.
could-
In that
you could-
movie with Marlon Brando, I used to tell my son, "You look like baby Superman." When you were a baby. He did. He looked,
Oh, okay.
well, he was a redhead, but that was the only difference.
I see. I
It
see.
could work. It could work. It could work.
Well, and you know, it's funny with all these characters. Everybody has their favorite superhero. So Emmett's
I have
obviously
too many.
Superman.
Yes.
I have too many. I have super.
And mine, of
Wonder
course, is
Woman.
Underdog. And,
Batman. I liked any woman that could show up the bad guys and put them in their place.
well,
with
Wonder
common
Woman could
sense.
do that easy.
Yeah, and she made them tell the truth. They hated that. Not only
Yeah.
would
Oh,
she
yeah.
tackle them down, but she goes, "We ain't done yet, boys. We need some truth out of your lying mouth."
So
So
she'll take the little lasso.
Yeah,
and
I
when
like
rope
that.
goes around you, it makes you tell the truth.
she's
No matter
flying
what.
through the air in
No
an
matter what
invisible
you're covering
jet.
up, Wonder Woman gets you with that rope.
Yeah,
Tell
and she
the truth.
boomerangs it. She
Yeah.
got a boomerang going on
Yeah.
with her headband, you know. So she
Yeah,
brought
Linda
some,
Carter
some
was a perfect
Australian.
actress to play that character.
And she hasn't really aged. If you've seen, I
I've
mean,
seen some pictures of her.
CoverGirl
I've seen
and
pictures of
Revlon
her.
did her good.
You know, if I were to write her that series, you know, when the character Wonder Woman first came out, it was in the 1940s fighting the Nazis. And so when that television version came out, that's what they were doing. And then in the second or third season, they got fancy. They updated it, called it the New Adventures of Wonder Woman. And I think that's where they made their mistake.
Yeah.
I think they should have kept that in that time period.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's where Wonder Woman came from.
CW
And it
was
just didn't work, in my opinion. And if I were the
CW.
director, that's what I would have done. I would have kept it in the 1940s.
Fox CW has brought back a new Wonder Woman, but they won't go all the way with it. They've just shown that this woman is a spy and she works for the intelligence, and it's almost like a duplicate of the updated Wonder Woman. But they won't go the rest of the way and make this agent into Wonder Woman. They won't finish it. And this woman's very pretty, and they've got it set up between partially Wonder Woman and Bugsy Malone, you
Secret
know,
Agent Man.
Yeah.
That was my vintage.
or Dick Tracy type of
Patti
situation.
mentioned it.
It's my mom's favorite song. She liked Johnny Rivers.
Yeah.
I also even liked the Superman series of the 1950s, you know,
Agent
that was very
Man,
good, you know.
Agent Man, he's the one.
Then I like
that
I like
Super
the
Friends
actor
part
who
too.
played
Oh, I've
that.
seen the
Just
Super
as
Friends
fast
because
as
I love
you can.
those, you know.
What was the name of the actor who played the character in that series?
Which one?
It's a British actor. I can't remember his name. Oh, I like
Well, okay, let's talk about Superman for a second. It was George Reeves was the
Yes.
one that did the black and white television
Yes.
version.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one's okay.
Now Christopher Reeves had the look, obviously, for the
Yeah.
movie version. But for the television version, the reason I like the George Reeves because they kept true to the comic book. You
Yeah,
know, they were
yeah.
fighting the gangsters and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
definitely.
Do you
in the
remember
original
Lois
Superman.
and Clark?
I didn't care for that series.
I
Some people
kind
might
of liked
have
it. There was more focus on the romance, Lois and
I
Clark.
didn't care for that.
Lois and
Yeah.
Clark.
Well, you know, I think, and nothing against Dean Cain, he's a fine actor, but I think they
He's Cain, right.
harp too much on the sexy side of
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that.
They did it pretty
That
good though
Superman was
with
too
the
sexy.
actress.
Yeah.
She was pretty good.
I like
as
that
Lois
rugged
Lane.
Superman.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
That bend
Well,
and
now
metal,
remember Smallville?
you know.
We had Smallville, and that was pretty good too.
Yeah, I didn't, but that more was his childhood. I didn't care for that either.
Nor
but
did, yeah,
I
that
did
concept,
like,
yeah, the yell.
I did like George Reeves. And how many of you remember the original Superman in the television before George Reeves?
You
I
mean,
can remember seeing it, but I don't remember.
no, I
any
don't.
of
I
the
might have seen it
details.
years ago. Do you mean?
I think
I'm
his
sorry,
name
before-
was
remember the-
Alan. I think it was Alan Kyle or something like that. The original Superman.
I might have seen something
Well,
like
they
that.
didn't have the technology when he would fly, so they would
Yeah.
show the people images, and when Superman would fly, it turned to a cartoon because they didn't have the
Yeah,
technology at the
yeah,
time.
yes. I think
He
I
was
saw
the
something like that.
original
Yes, yes.
television Superman before George Reeves.
Yes.
I think his name was Alan Kyle,
Mhm.
but don't quote me on that. But That was a pretty cool series too.
I remember watching the Legion Hall, the cartoon. They had the Superman on it.
Well, yeah, Emmett mentioned the Super Friends, and the actor
Yeah, I
Ted
love
Knight
the
was
Super
the
Friends.
narrator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what they did was they got all the superheroes together to fight the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
The challenge
Yeah,
of the Super Friends.
Superman and
Fantastic.
Aquaman.
But that's when
and
cartoons
Yeah.
were still cartoons, you know. That's
and
when they had
the Green
it going
Lantern
on.
and,
Yes.
and all those characters all
Aquaman.
combined. Wonder Woman, all of them.
Yeah, fantastic.
Did you ever see
Yeah.
the Super Friends? It was pretty cool.
Wonder
It was.
Twin Powers activate.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Twin
loved
Powers?
that.
Those little the kids. They
Yes.
were like ordinary kids.
Then they had their own dog. They had a dog
Yeah.
on there and a
Yeah.
kid
With their
with
rings
it.
together.
Wonder Boy.
Power, they did superhero.
Wonder
on,
Dog,
you know?
Wonder Boy.
Yeah. So that was really cool when they combined it all, and then of course they had all the bad guys like Lex
Yes.
Luthor and
The
all,
Legion of Doom. I
Yeah,
love
Legion
that.
of
Yeah.
Doom. and then Superman, of course, would always save the day.
I thought it was kind of
Yeah.
funny, you know, you have Lex Luthor, he's bald, and then you have Professor X, he's bald.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
and all the bad guys are always bald. You ever notice that?
Yeah, and
cartoons?
Professor X,
Oh,
he's
I
a
noticed
good
that,
guy
you're
that's
right.
trying to
They
make
got like
sense
these
and he
bald
lost his
heads,
hair over
you know,
it.
and they're like
But they
picking
have
up bad
weird
stuff.
bushy hair.
Yeah, and then
Mustache out.
And then the
Yeah,
good
that's why
guys
at the
would
end.
always try, and that's what I liked about, that's what I like about the early television. Good always overcame
Yes.
evil.
Yeah, and they
That's
had to
what I
figure it
liked
out.
about
Yes.
The good always got punished by evil, and then they had to reevaluate their thinking and
Mm-hmm.
do reverse psychology to win over
Well, in
the
some
evil
shows,
too.
but in some classic shows, like the Super Friends, they just always.
If they were simple,
Yeah.
it was
and
a
that
comedy.
was good if your children were watching that. They
Yeah.
could see that good always triumphs and overcomes.
See, if it wasn't a
evil,
lot of
you know.
drama, it would turn into like a little bit of a comedy, like they did that on Scooby-Doo, they did on a lot of number one. If they didn't really have a great, big, dramatic case to solve, they have a little bit of comedy of Shaggy and Scooby acting up, always trying to find that snack, trying to find that food. In every episode, they're always trying to find something to eat. Every single episode.
Yeah, I guess.
Scooby snacks to the rescue.
But I watched a lot of cartoons when I was a little boy growing up.
That was our baby.
Same here.
And
It was
my
yes.
favorite was always the superheroes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always liked the Flash too. Originally, the original Flash, he could run around the Earth 8 times in 1 second. That's how fast he was.
Yeah, Mach 1.
Yeah. He could literally run around the planet Earth 8 times in 1 second. And they used to show this image of the Flash running around the Earth at the beginning when he come on real fast.
Yeah, yep,
And I used to
yep.
think, oh, that was so cool.
Shazam! Yep,
That was
him
so
too.
cool. So,
Then they had an episode on Batman and Robin, the live one,
oh, the one with Adam West.
in Venomous, yeah. And they had
Is that
to
the
make.
one with the Green Hornet? Did they have the Green Hornet on there?
It was this episode was before there where they actually made everybody think that water had flooded a bank, right? And what they did is they used a partial of a blue screen back then, and also you spilled some water, and also like an aquarium cage with water. So everybody had to walk really slow and take slow hits, and then they had the pow and the zap.
Oh,
and
I think I remember that episode. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
were
they-
fighting underwater.
yeah, they made everybody
They were
look
fighting
like
the
they were.
Riddler and
Yeah,
his
and it
gang.
was
I
just
think I
a
remember that.
big aquarium in front of the
Yeah.
movie camera, and
Uh-huh.
everybody had to move slow as the bubbles go on.
Yeah, and the words would go up very slow underwater. I
Yeah.
remember that episode.
That was fun.
But,
it's on the old Batman is on the Me TV.
Yeah.
It's on Saturday. I have really tried so hard to give it an open mind, and I just can't get into it. It's too comical, like Batman meets Gilligan's Island.
Well, it was supposed,
It's supposed to be a
the way it
comedy.
was at the time. But you know
It's
what?
supposed to be.
What?
That's still probably
It's not like
considered
the-
best
it's not like-
Batman of all
yeah.
time. It may not have the special
It's not like the
effects,
cartoon. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more lighter.
But and then the movie, you got to see the movie, the
I see.
Batman the movie with Adam West. It's pretty good because
Huh.
the Joker and the Penguin, the Riddler,
Yeah.
they all team up with Catwoman. They all
Burgess
team up.
Meredith.
Yeah, and of course again, Batman and Robin fix the day.
And if
So
you notice,
if you saw the movie version, you'd probably appreciate those characters.
Interesting.
and if
I
you
liked-
notice each episode after so many,
Yeah.
the Batman card changes too. Right now at Hastings, you
Yeah.
can buy the first 50 episodes of Batman,
Yeah.
and they have like a little toy model of the original car
Yeah.
for $50.
I liked the Grimmer movies that were made in the 90s and 80s, like 1989, when we had the Batman, when the Grimmer one, I preferred that actually. It
Well,
was
you
a
know
little
when they
more
were
true.
walking up, when Batman and Robin are walking on this rope up a wall, actually they turn the camera, make you think they're really going up
Yes,
a wall,
yes.
but they're actually walking
But But
straight
you know, when
across.
that show first came out, it was one of the #1 shows in the 60s.
Yep, I'm sure.
It was
When that
entertaining.
show first
It was
came out.
entertaining.
It soared high in the ratings. That's how
Yep.
popular that show was when
Yep.
it first came out. And on that note, we're going to have to wind down because a whole hour has already gone by.
Yes.
Has
Well, let's
already gone
pray.
by. Go ahead and
Oh
I'll
God,
make final
in the
acknowledgement.
name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, thank you, O Lord, for another fascinating show. It was absolutely fascinating. Thank you for this wonderful gathering of the wonderful time, and bless us, O God, in Jesus' name. Amen. Protect us again from all evil in Jesus'
Yeah,
name.
and on that final note, since we're signing off, this was I call this the Supermarket Pianist edition
Mhm.
of Asaph Cafe because once again my book signing is this Saturday. So if you guys are in the area, you're more than welcome to come.
Please help him get writer's
tramps.
tramps. Make him sign away his name.
Yeah. And so we have our veteran guest again, Patti Reed, and our hostess. And of course
Hostess
our
with the mostess.
Our mascot, Pee Wee. She's just getting her ears scratched.
She's lifting
And
an
one of
ear
our
for all
regulars,
you.
Linda Brooks Curtis, and this was a delight to not only talk about
Yes.
the book, but talk about superheroes. some
Yes,
of
it
the fun
was.
things.
Yes.
And of course, our affectionate aging rocker, Emmett. So
And our super pianist that
Fascinating.
did a super show today.
Yeah, I
Totally
did.
super.
And thanks, guys, for being part of this show. And this will air a few weeks from now.
Wonderful.
Happy trails.
Any last-minute words before I sign off?
Missoula, stop smoking. For God's sakes, let it rain instead.
Maybe you'd like to close with a surreal joke. We've had some serious stuff and some good stuff, but maybe.
We'll let you tell a joke and I'll sign off.
All right, this is actually kind of based on kind of a dream I had a couple of nights ago. I don't know why it didn't even have a plot. It was, good gravy. Who was the one who did? We were talking about her on the good ship Lollipop. Now I've forgotten the
Shirley Temple?
Shirley Temple. But I kept hearing this song in my mind. On the good ship Lollipop, there's a birthday cake for you to eat. And I thought that was hilarious. On the good ship Lolly, there's a birthday cake for you to eat. Well, anyway, there were these two washing machines, and they were on the good ship Lollipop, and there was a birthday cake in the way. And so these washing machines came along and say, "Oh, I can't see around that." So they went to the other side of the ship and started screaming about algebra. Ha 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 ha! Wasn't that funny?
He needs a sugar fix. Please send him a piece of cake and some sugar.
Well, Emmett, don't quit your day job. And on that note, let's sign off. So until our next show, ladies and gentlemen, Maranatha.
Happy trails to you.
This guy's in love with you.
Yep.
And
I
make
always
sure
told
that
those
Emmett
jokes
gets
at
a lovely lollipop sucker and a piece of cake before he has a sugar withdrawal.
Fascinating.
Well,
All righty then.